What different with the start now? Part of what defines this trip is being a spiritual journey, right? And spiritual journeys are almost by definition personal. And I've made a lot of personal revelations in the trip, and specifically I came across something recently this morning that I was thinking about that I don't know how it hit me, but it did. And it had to do with like my true nature and or the nature that drives my life, what's really defined my life has been kind of a roller coaster or a cyclical nature of like highs and lows. And generally speaking, a lot of people can say they go through roller coasters all the time, right? There's high and low points to everyone's life. I think what's happened on the trip is that the highs and lows for me have been more amplified and dampened depending on interactions with people, interactions with the environment around me. And I guess the point for me saying that I'm able to understand my true nature a little bit more is that like you don't have to fight the world as much. Like if you're understanding what characteristics define your life, you can use those to better create a life for yourself. And like there's different natures, right? And I guess I should define what I mean by nature, because I think there's a lot of different things that people could think about when they hear the term nature. So there's natures like someone generally being a calm person or happy person. There's natures of kind of behaviors that define how a person reacts to life almost. For the point that like everyone can say they've been through highs and lows and like generally feels the roller coaster of life as it stands today. There's other qualities that I think resonates more with certain people. So like I was thinking about someone else that I had worked with previously who has qualities of like being a quote unquote natural born leader. And the thing that I think, the nature that defined his life was more so him being put into situations that he didn't really ask for, and him being able to like understand what was required of him in those situations, but like always being tossed into things that aren't like really where he wanted to go or like what he was even like thinking about doing. There's other people that I know are just like they care a lot about life, and they're always more outwardly giving than anything else. And just the nature of them always giving is the quality that defines kind of like what happens in their life. And like you can choose pretty much any nature and any person and find a relationship between the two. And the reason for me saying that is because all of the natures generally stem from a single point. So if you think about energy, there's lots of different types of energy, right? There's electrical, heat, mechanical, potential kinetic, hydro, nuclear, solar, the list goes on. And how the energy looks and how it's applied is completely different, but the root of it all being energy is undeniable, right? And being able to understand both sides of like where the energy comes from, but also how it's used in a specific application, lets you have, or rather gives you the ability to, I don't want to use the word like take advantage, but like that's the thing. It's not taking advantage in a negative sense, but like seeing the full potential, I guess, is a better way of saying that, of what's provided in that scenario, right? And like the question comes up like, can someone change their nature? And I would say yes in general, but why try to change something without first understanding what you have? Is my question I would ask in terms of that other question. So if you fully understand your nature, I feel like you'll be able to understand how to use it, and you wouldn't need to change it. But that's for the person that has whatever nature that they have to decide. And I don't know. I think that there's something important there, and I just appreciate. Like, I would not have been able to understand. Like, I've been through so many roller coasters of highs and lows, all my life essentially. But it's accelerated since I graduated and started working a little bit. But it accelerated even faster when I was on this trip, and it was much more exaggerated to the point where like every day is a roller coaster, minus like the intense volatility of the roller coaster at like the lows that I've just came out of, and I'm transitioning into a high period, and being able to, for me to identify that, gives me the ability to like make the most of the time that I have with the energy that I have at this high point. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy. It just happened across my mind this morning, and I don't know. Like, I'm in Sacramento right now, staying in hotels, as you've heard in previous spiels that I've done. Like, California's been a very interesting state. There's a lot of people who are very proud Californians, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think, like I love Florida, but like I'm not gonna go around saying Florida's the best state, because every state has its own benefits, and not so benefits. Another point that came out of me being here is that Sacramento doesn't feel as intense as the rest of California, at least. The point I want to say is that each state is essentially its own country. At least, like, I didn't understand the depth of like states' rights versus federal rights, I think, before this trip as well. But like, having the autonomy to have your own culture as a state, I think that point just didn't connect before I was on this trip. And I mean, seeing where I've gotten to now, it's interesting when you think about the big topics in terms of how people try to argue one way or the other, and like the solution is to kind of find the people that share the value that you care about, and create a community around it, essentially. And practically, that's been very messy, outside of countries and outside of divisions within countries. It's just not easy to coexist with other cultures, other communities, which is why there's always war and conflict. Coming back to the original point, though, I feel like if people are able to understand their nature, and when they come across someone else, be able to observe that person's nature and maybe not fully understand it, but respect that it's different from theirs, I think that a lot of problems can be solved. And when someone, like, if someone were to learn about my nature being a roller coaster, right? I think like the natural question would be like, where on the roller coaster are you? For me specifically, and how is that going to affect our interactions, essentially? For someone with like always being put in situations that you didn't ask for, I mean, a question could be what defines something that you're not asking for? Like, what are you looking for? And if you're coming in with something that's not that, then obviously you're being part of the thing that defines your life. Which, if depending on how the person feels about that, whether they're okay always taking on new struggles, or if they want to not do that today for whatever reason, at least there's like an understanding that can be achieved there, and then you can like move forward from it, right? There's other people's nature, which is just like, honestly, like, I'm trying to run through people that I know in my head and try and see if I know their nature, and it's actually surprising to me that there are some people that I'm close with that I can't say that I can really define their nature, which is very interesting. So I'm going to do some more thinking on that, but hopefully the point at least made a little bit of sense, and maybe someone can take something from it, right? So we'll see how I go going forward on the trip. Today is day 119, maybe 120 if I'm counting badly, and yeah, damn. I guess this is an appropriate 4-month revelation or something like that. So I'll be out of California soon. I'll be I don't know. California is just so huge. It's just like Texas, and I don't know. These two states have been definitely a struggle for different reasons, and we're looking forward to the rest of the trip. So it's your boy Nick Kumia signing off.